everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we're going to be creating an autumn gel polish and stamping design using one of the new Miss Lucy UK stamping plates. So here I have one of the new plates from her collection. This one is called Autumn Leaves. I think in her new autumn collection there's 5 or 6 new plates. I picked up 2 of them and I can't wait to get my hands on some of the others as well, as they are all absolutely amazing. But out of the collection, this one here was my favorite, so I had to get a set done using this one straight away. Just look at all those beautiful autumn designs on there. So we are going to be working with gel polish for this video. So I'm going to do my base of my gel polish nails with vintage white from Kiki London. This is a really pretty off-white pinky white shade. I really like it as a base for stamping if you don't want a bright white base. And I have left a lot of this video in real time because I get lots of questions on stamping. So I thought if I left the video in real time, we could slowly go through all of the steps. And if you have any questions still, you can pop them in the comments below and I will be happy to help. So starting off, if you was working on yourself or a client, you would do all of your natural nail prep and come in with your base coat. But I'm jumping straight in with the colour coat because we are just working on display tips. So I did my first coat of vintage white, cured that for 30 seconds, and here I'm coming in with that second coat, and I just find this such a beautiful shade. Like I said, I love it as a base for stamping because I don't know, it's just a lot nicer than a bright white in my opinion. So I did that on all 4 of the nails and I've cured these for 30 seconds. Now before I get on to the stamping, I want to do a little bit hand painted nail art. So I'm going to take a couple of colours also from Kiki London. So first up we have Wine With Me. All of these colours are absolutely beautiful for autumn, but this one especially, such a gorgeous, rich, deep purple colour. And then we're going to take Toffee Break. Now I thought these 2 colours paired really nicely together. They just scream autumn. And then I did want to have 3 colours in this design, so I also went for the gorgeous Brown Sugar, which is kind of like a grey brown. It's a really different colour, but again it's very autumnal and I felt as though it worked beautifully with the other 2 colours. Now we are only going to be doing some simple gel polish painting. I just wanted a bit of a background and splash of colour to lay up my stamping over the top of. So to do any of the hand painting in this design, I'm going to be using my Kiki London stripe liner brush. Now I do have discount codes for both Kiki London and Miss Lucy UK, and those codes get you 10% off. So I will leave those in the description box below. So do check them out if you're looking to place an order, as you can get some pennies off of that order. So moving on to the hand painting, like I said, it's really simple. I'm coming in first of all with the Wine With Me, and I'm just going to be creating some rough circular shapes. I wanted this design to have a little bit of an abstract feel, so I'm not worrying about creating perfect circular shapes or anything like that. They've got a bit more of a leafy shape to them and they're just a bit of an uneven circular shape. Although they are uneven, I'm trying to keep the lines as crisp and neat as possible so they don't look too jagged, and that was why I opted to use the stripe liner brush for this part, because I find that gets me nice smooth neat edges. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the Wine With Me on all 3 of the nails, and then we'll cure that and come in with the next colour. And I'm trying to create the shapes in different sizes and also placing them in different places on each of the nails, just so all 4 nails don't look exactly the same, because we are going to put a different stamped image on each of the nails. But I'm fairly keeping the design in the center part of the nails. I'm kind of looking at the previous nail and trying to keep everything roughly in the center. And I love these kind of designs because obviously they look very similar on each of the nails, so they're perfect for clients who don't want too much out there of a nail art design. You know, there are plenty of clients who don't want a different design on each nail. And so they are slightly different on each nail, but obviously all the colours are the same and things like that. And they are also really simple and quick and easy to do. So I did the Wine With Me first of all on all 4 of those nails, and then we're going to pop these in to cure for 30 seconds. Whilst that's curing, I'm going to clean up my stripe liner brush using one of the Kiki London alcohol pads. So I just run it over the alcohol pad, making sure I remove all of that colour that we've used previously, because we don't want to contaminate that with our next colour. If you're struggling to clean up your brush on an alcohol pad or using alcohol, then you can also run your nail art brushes through clear gel. So if you run them through either your base base or top coat, it helps pull out any colour that's remaining in the bristles of the brush. And also because you're using a clear gel, as long as you don't get it anywhere near your UV light, it won't do any damage to your brush. It won't clog up your brushes or anything like that. So once I had cleaned up my brush, we're going to come in with the gorgeous Toffee Break. And what I want to do is create basically a very similar shape to what we did previously, but I want to kind of gently overlap it ever so slightly on to that wine with me. So you can see here, I'm just taking it over slightly, and the colours are very pigmented, so I only needed to do one coat of each colour, but kind of overlapping, you do still see a little bit of that wine with me through the Toffee Break where it overlaps, and I really liked that effect that it gave off. Again, same as before, I'm trying to make sure that not every nail looks identical, so I'm trying to pop down the second colour in different places than I have done on the previous nails, kind of trying to make sure I do different sizes as well. And when you are doing these little these little images of nail art, you don't need a lot of gel polish on your brush. So you see I've run my brush through that gel polish, but I'm keeping a minimal amount of product on there. You don't want to overload your brush, because if there's more or if there's too much gel polish on your stripe liner brush, I find it harder to control. So sometimes less is more, and then if you do need any more, you can just come in and get a little bit more on your brush. So again, I've done all 4 of the Toffee Breaks, and then we're going to pop those in to cure for 30 seconds. And then lastly, we're going to come in with the brown sugar. And again, with the brown sugar, I wanted to overlap it slightly over the previous 2 colours, so it kind of creates one large shape in the centre of the nail. So that was kind of the look that I was going for, but I love how it's broken up with the 3 different colours. You could just do this or with 1 or 2 colours and stamp over the top. I often do designs like this as well with foils. So rather than popping down any gel polish colour, I'll pop down some shattered effect foils and then stamp over the top of that. But I think it just adds an extra element to the design rather than just having plain gel polish and stamping, which of course does looks great, but if you're looking for something a little bit extra but still keeping it simple, I love designs like this where you're just layering something underneath that stamping design. So coming in with the brown sugar, again, if I've done 2 larger shapes with the previous 2 colours, I'm trying to keep the 3rd shape quite small, things like that, just so that across all 3 nails, the rough size that we've done with the gel polish in the centre is the same, just so it flows nicely. If it was being worn on a set of nails, you wouldn't want one nail to look like it's got a lot more colour on it than the previous ones. So I'm just trying to keep that all roughly the same size and roughly in the centre of the nail, but I do believe one of them is a little bit off center compared to the others, but it's a lot easier to do these designs when I think anyway, when you're working on a hand rather than display tips. So we're just going to finish up the last one here. As you can see, I'm letting that brush do a lot of the work for me, just using a small amount of gel polish. The stripe liner brush is really easy for beginner friendly nail art. Keeping everything nice and neat. Of course, where you have cured the previous 2 colours underneath, if you make any mistakes with one of your colours, you can wipe it off. And then, so here for example, if I made a mistake with the brown sugar, I could wipe that off without taking away the previous 2 colours. And this is what the design is looking like so far. So you can see what I mean. That ring finger effectively now is the one where the colour is a little bit off centre. So I did pop them all into cure, and we're now going to move on to the stamping. So I have the gorgeous Miss Lucy UK Autumn Leaves stamping plate, and we're going to use 4 different designs from this stamping plate. So there are a couple of different styles. You've got ones that have got a little bit more detail in them, ones that are a little bit more simple, and then I believe there's a couple of layered ones there as well. I haven't used all of the images on the plate yet. This was my first time using it. I have used the Miss Lucy UK stamping plates before though. I have a couple of their previous ones, and they are all made absolutely amazingly, and they are all made here in the UK as well, which is absolutely fabulous. So I'm also, by the way, stamping using my clear jelly stamper Big Bling. This is my go-to stamper, and I'm using the Nicole Diary stamping polish in white. So as you can see, I have done the first nail, so I'll talk you through the steps on the remaining 3 nails. But how cute does that look? The detail in this stamping plate is amazing, because you've also got the colour underneath and the stamping plate image is detailed. I love that you're able to see the colours through the image. So let's talk stamping. I'm going to start off, I'm cleaning off my stamping plate using some acetone just to make sure it's nice and clean. I would always recommend doing this at the start of any stamping, even if you haven't used the plate before or if you cleaned it before putting it away. I always find giving the plate a good clean is a great place to start. And then I'm going to apply a generous amount of stamping polish, and I like to scrape a couple of times just to remove that excess. It is always a little bit trickier getting the images that are on the very edge of the plate. I always find it a little bit harder to scrape. So I like to scrape a couple of times, and then I just roll my stamper across that image, and as you can see, it picked up beautifully. And then I've just used my lint-free roller to pick off any excess that's on my stamping plate. So any image that you've picked up that you don't want, you can remove this in a couple of different ways, but I have always found it easiest to use the lint-free roller because it's sticky. It just picks off any unwanted image easily. And then I'm just looking through and deciding where I want to place down that image. So you can see I was spending a few seconds just kind of working out where I want it to go, and then I press down, give it a little rock from backwards and forwards, and gently peel off. And as you can see, it's stamped down beautifully. So then we're going to move on to the third image. So again, I'm giving my plate a really good scrub with some tissue and acetone. You can use cotton pads, you can use reusable cotton pads. I often use a bunch of different things, but here I'm just using some paper towel and some standard acetone. Then the one thing with stamping is you need to work quick. So before you put any polish down, make sure you know what image you want to pick up. So here I'm taking my time, looking through the images and deciding on what I want to stamp. Then I'm gonna take my stamping polish and I'm applying that to pretty much all of the image. It depends on what polish you're using. Sometimes less is more though. And then as you can see, I've scraped in 2 directions, and then I've gently, with a quick flick of the wrist, rolled my stamper across that image, and it's picked up absolutely beautifully. I do genuinely find a gentle but firm pressure and a quick flick of the wrist picks up any image really easy when I'm using the clear jelly stamper, big bling stamper, any of these jelly kind of stampers. Actually, they've got quite a soft head, so just a light touch with a bit of a firm pressure and a quick flick of the wrist picks up that image easily. Once you have picked up the image, I find that you've got a few seconds that you can play around deciding where you want to place that down. So as you can see, I was kind of looking through the stamper to see what it looked like over various parts of the nail, and then I just press down, rock back and forth and peel off, and we've got another image easily stamped. So then on to the fourth and final one. Again, always giving the plate a good clean just to make sure that you're removing all of that stamping polish. Any stamping polish that remains in the image means that it's going to dry there, and then it's going to be harder to clean next time, or you might not see it there and then you'll have trouble picking up your image. So always make sure to give it a really good clean. If you're finding that your images are not picking up nicely or they're not picking up cleanly, then go back in with your acetone and give the plate a really good scrub, because a lot of the time it could be that you've got stamping polish dried on into the image that you might not necessarily be able to see, and that's going to affect the pickup of your next image. So here you'll see I press down and I just rock that stamper. So I don't press down and pull straight off. I press down and give it a gentle rock backwards and forwards and then pull my stamper off, and it stamps down perfectly every single time. So here we've got all 4 of those designs done. I really loved, I wasn't sure actually whether to do the stamping in black or white, but I'm glad I went for white because I really loved how it looked over those colours, and they kind of don't overpower each other too much. Both the colours and the stamping images seem to pop in this design, which I was really pleased with. Now I wasn't sure whether to go for matte or glossy, but I decided in the end to go for matte. So I'm taking my Kiki London No White matte top coat, and I'm just going to apply a thin layer of this to all of the nails. Now here you can see I'm faffing about. This is because I had a little bit of fluff stuck in my top coat and I had to get that out, but you just need a thin layer of top coat just to seal in your stamping and your gel polish design. Now you don't necessarily have to use a matte top coat. You could use a glossy top coat. Whichever top coat you use is your preference. I do sometimes find that stamping can smudge with a matte top coat. I don't find it with this particular stamping polish, that's why I've come straight in with the matte top coat. But if you find that your matte top coat makes your stamping smudge, then just come in with a glossy no white top coat first of all, and then go over the top with your matte. Now this is what the nails look like glossy. I'm then going to pop them in my LED lamp to cure for 30 seconds and they shall come out looking lovely and matte. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this design, and let me know what you think of stamping, and please do check out the Miss Lucy UK website for all of her new and old stamping plates. They are all absolutely amazing. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping well. Take care.